All right, so I'm back here today to do a bonus review, a double review. So this is One Cut Knife Reviews, and I've got two knives that are very, very similar in a lot of ways. So what we got? Well, we have got a Demko 20.5 in 3V steel and Benchmade Adamas Mini in CruWear. Let's talk about these two knives. This is a double review, so we're actually talking about both of them. I haven't had either all that long, probably within a year for both of them. So there's some things about them that are very, very similar. And I don't see them compared all that often. And they probably should be, because the blade shape, the handle shape, man, there's just a lot about these knives that are very similar. They're both very, very good for lefties and righties. They're ambidextrous as heck. Axis lock, you know, it's easy either side, right? Either side. Ease of manipulation. And then the shark lock, okay? So the shark lock on Demko's is fantastic. Very easy to operate left or right, right? So that's right and left, okay? Very, very easy. There's a couple of advantages here or there for one or the other, and I'll talk about them. So, these two are kind of a head-to-head. I will carry, I'll tell you right off the bat, more often the Demko. Okay? And for me, it's a couple of factors. One of them being the thickness of the knife. The Mini Adamas is a great knife. It fills the hand so well, it almost feels like a fixed blade knife, you know? And it's because of the thickness of it. It's not a thin knife, okay? To compare it to other knives that people are very familiar with, let's pull out something like this guy, right? So this is a Para 3 by Spyderco, and you can see it's a good deal thicker, right? It's not mind-blowingly thicker, but it's thicker. It's not really showing very well, is it? Well, darn it, it's thicker. The Dash 1940, it's probably a little bit thicker than that. Yeah, it is. How about something like the Malibu? Probably not the best color background to do this on, but yeah, it's thicker. Thicker. Now, is it thicker than the Demko? Yeah. Yeah, it's thicker. Let me see if I can get some light color here to put down for a background for a second. Because this is a point you need to really drive home if you're going to compare these two knives, okay? You really do. How can I get that? There we go. See that? I mean, it's pretty thick comparatively. And I'm lining it up to the edge of that part of the scale. See how it chamfers down? You don't want to do it here. More like there. But you can see the thickness difference is extreme. Okay? They weigh about the same. What are they? 3 something probably. I don't have a scale. But, you know, you're going to feel them in the pocket, but not a lot. They're pretty light. You know, a lot of people pull out scales, go numbers, whatever, but about the same. About the same. the profile on these knives, okay, the way it fits into your fingers, you see that? And you see that? Not as many little doody-dads and loop-de-outs as the Demko has. But not that different in the handle shape, okay? This hook here, right, it comes up to that little hilt, that choil, if you will. It's about the same on both of them. Size-wise, boy, they're close. Ooh, boy, they're close. Close, 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 close. Let's put the bottoms together. And where does that leave the tops? Yeah, they're right there. They're really close. Knives are very similar, okay? Price-wise, I think they're pretty similar. I've talked before about the Demko's clip. Only thing I don't like about a Demko, really, is the clip. The factory clip's just really shallow. It's made well enough. It works, of course. I just prefer my knives to run a little deeper in the pocket. I'm less apt to lose them. It's less showy. I just like it a little deeper. The Benchmade comes with a deeper clip from the factory. And it's this material, it's almost like a parkerizing or something. I don't know what it is. It doesn't feel like regular paint though. And it wears off better than regular paint. It's not chippy, it's weary-offy. Does that make sense? Anyway, not like a painted surface as much. CruWear versus 3V. I don't know. It's probably about a wash. I think you'll find as many fans of one as you'll find of the other. Yeah, both good steels. Neither one of them are very rust resistant. There's a coating on this blade though, to take note with. This one doesn't have any kind of coating, and boy is it stone washed to heck. Look at that. I mean, what is that? Boulder washed? That's some crazy texture they got on that thing, right? Looks good though. I like it. Make it rust prone? You bet. This is in a sweaty Texas pocket too long, it's probably gonna rust. A little rust on your knife, the end of the world? No, it's not. The CruWear will rust as well, but that coating's really gonna mitigate that. As far as rust on your knife, okay, don't let it get out of hand. Is this knife rusted? Yeah. This is Maximet, and technically the whole thing is rusted. See the difference in the coloration from sharpening there? And how dark this part of the blade is? Really dark, right? Yeah. That's because it's got a patina on it, which is a fancy way of saying an all-over light rust. Not the end of the world. That's a Maximet thing. I think it just happens in the air. As far as I can tell, it is the most patina-nist knife steel I ever did mess with. In the pocket, a little bigger than a pair of 3. See? About the same. Height-wise, I think the Demko's a little taller, but not much. Similar in the pocket. The retention of the blades in the pocket, it's similar. The shark lock pulls in a little harder. A little more resistant to opening inside the pocket, something like that. Also gives you a little more to fire off of. In that resistance, I don't think you would really call it a detent, but you know, the thing that holds the blade in the handle. The Mini Adamas is a really smooth knife. The blade's kind of heavy on it, and it just really swings down nicely. Kind of quiet, Very smooth, like buttery smooth. It's a nice opening. The click of the lock is kind of quiet though. Hear that? Now, when you bring out the Demko, listen to this thing. It snaps, right? It snaps. The authority of that knife. It's about my hardest opening knife as far as the sound of it, right? You know? I mean, this is Malibu sound. They have a pretty authoritative snap. The Malibu does. A lot of you know what Spyderco sounds like. I think a good way to judge it, hang on, let me walk away for just a second, because I'm not prepared. But anyway, a good way to judge it is to compare sounds to something like an Ultratech. A lot of people have Ultratechs, and I have multiple Ultratechs, and they all open generally with the same force and the same sound. Okay? So you hear that? If you got one at home and you hear it, how's that for a sound comparison? Okay. And now listen. I'm not even really giving it the whammy. I mean, you can rocket it out. Be rough with it. Make it louder. But you don't even need to. I mean, that's a pretty normal outing, right? It's about Ultratech sound. The loudness is about Ultratech loud. That's what we'll call it now. Ultratech loud. All right? Let's compare it to that. I'm sorry. I geek out on the sound of knives. I will listen to sounds of knives. I love the noises they make. The sound of the materials make when you handle them. They all have such a character to them. You know. But anyway, that's the sound you're dealing with. What kind of noise you can expect. I don't know. I just, you know, these knives are very similar to me. If I'm around town, let's say I'm going on a hike, on a trail around one of the local lakes where I can step off the trail and basically go to a 7-Eleven. I'm in town, but I'm out having fun at a park or a trail or something. This is a great knife. It's easy to carry, right? You can carve your initials into a tree or a bench with it, right? You cut up an apple. It's thin enough behind the edge. 3V gets screaming sharp. Okay, screaming sharp. This is a great knife for going on a camping trip or something, right? It's robust, like the Demko. It fills the hand a little more, but in hand, they feel almost exactly the same. Almost the same. They're so close. This knife is good, though, for a quote-unquote woods knife because it has a similar steel as far as them both being tool steels. The steel, the 3V versus CruWear, they're both going to be tough. They're going to both sharpen easily and get sharpened to a razor edge. This CruWear is like that 3V. It is sharp. And these are not thin knives behind the edge. They're a little thicker, especially this guy. But this CruWear right now, I mean, it's Can you hear it? They're doing that sticky sharp, you know? Yeah, you can hear it against your fingerprints. Sticky sharp. Anyway, this is a good wood, like a woods knife. And for me, anyway, mostly it's because of the thickness of the handle. It gives you a little more grip, a little more traction. And the coating on this blade makes me worry about a little bit less. And it's not so much here, right? I can see something on it and flick it off or whatever. But it's under here, you know, under the scale. That's where stuff gets trapped and can rust out and pit and get nasty. A little rust on the blade, surface rust, who cares? So I think this one's better for a little bit being rougher with, and this one's a little bit better around town, but still capable and a little bit rough. Anyway, I just think they're real similar. So I wanted to show you all the two knives. I don't think either one of them is any better than the other. I really don't. Both came dead nut centered from factory. I'll say if you want deep carry, go ahead and get this fella, because it's pretty deep from the factory. Yeah. But about the same weight, same hand feel, similar purpose, similar ease of opening, just a little bit different character, you know. This one does open with that hardcore snap. This is kind of softer, but still buttery smooth. So yeah, I mean, this, you know, this is made in America. That's another thing. All right. I am not blind to the fact that that matters for a lot of people. Right? Made in America is a thing. That's me and that's you. This knife is made in Taiwan. All right? You're supporting families, but they're overseas. However, you're supporting allied families overseas. Taiwan is an ally of the United States, right? So, unlike some people, I like to support manufacturers in America first. And if I go outside of America, I like it to be America friendly where I'm buying from. And if it ain't America friendly, I don't like to buy it. So take what you will from that. Anyway, similar knives. You know, this is again a one big cut. So one cut review. There you go. It's kind of a double review. I'll see y'all later.